I never thought family could burn hotter than hellfire. But there I was, standing over my brother Jake's hospital bed, watching the machines beep their monotonous dirge while the doctors whispered about irreversible damage. He'd crashed his truck into a guardrail on I-80, high on whatever cocktail of pills and booze he'd chased that night. And in the wreckage, they'd found the note, scrawled in his chicken scratch handwriting. Peyton owes me half. She stole it all. Stole it. That $42,000 inheritance from Mom's estate. The one I'd clawed through probate hell to claim after she died alone in that shitty Omaha nursing home. Yeah, he demanded his cut like it was his God-given right. Called me a heartless cunt over Thanksgiving turkey when I said no, right there in front of Aunt Linda and the kids. But this, framing me as the thief from beyond the grave, that was the spark that lit the fuse. I'd covered for him once before, you know, back when we were kids in that crumbling duplex off Dodge Street. Dad long gone to some floozy in Vegas, and Mom drowning her days in gin. Jake, 17 and full of that reckless fire all the bad boys in Nebraska seem to have, had boosted a car from the mall lot, some yuppie's shiny Escalade. Joyride gone wrong when he clipped a fire hydrant and left it totaled. Cops came, lights flashing like Judgment Day, and he panicked, shoved the keys at me, his 15-year-old sister, and said, "Tell him it was you, pay. You're the good one. They'll go easy." So I did. Lied through my braces and tears, took the juvie rap for grand theft auto. Served 6 months in that godforsaken youth detention center, where the nights smelled like bleach and broken dreams, all while Jake slunk back to school like nothing happened. Family sticks together, he grinned later, clapping my shoulder like we'd just won a game of touch football. That secret? Buried deeper than Mom's ashes in that pauper's grave. Until now. The inheritance hit my account 3 months after her funeral, a paltry $42,000 from a life of waitressing tips and bad bets on the ponies. Jake showed up at my apartment unannounced, that same cocky smirk from high school plastered on his face, reeking of cheap cologne and cheaper whiskey. "Hey, sis, heard about the windfall. Mom always said we split everything 50-50. I laughed at first. Nerves, maybe, told him it was mine, all mine, for the down payment on a little house, a fresh start away from the ghosts of Council Bluffs. His eyes narrowed. That flip from charm to venom faster than a Midwest thunderstorm. "You ungrateful bitch," he snarled, slamming his fist on my coffee table, sending my half-dead ficus crashing to the floor. "After all I've done? You think that money's clean? It's blood money. Pay, our blood." He stormed out, but not before vowing I'd regret it, his words hanging in the air like exhaust fumes. That was 6 weeks ago. Now, as I sat in the ICU waiting room, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry hornets, the cops pulled me aside. "Miss Harlan, your brother's conscious enough to talk. Says you two had a fight over money. Something about you owing him." My stomach twisted, while rising like the Platte River in flood season. Jake, that scheming son of a bitch, was weaving his web even from a morphine drip. I could see it unfolding. He'd spin the yarn of sibling rivalry turned deadly, paint me as the jealous one who'd sabotaged his truck brakes out of spite. Never mind that I'd fixed that rust bucket Ford for him last summer, bleeding my knuckles on the undercarriage while he shot pool at the VFW. No, in his version, I was the villain, and that inheritance? The motive with a capital M. I nodded to the officer, all wide-eyed innocence, the Midwestern nice I'd perfected like a second skin. "Fight? Yeah, we argued. Family stuff. But sabotage? God, no. Jake's always been his own worst enemy. Booze, bad choices. Check his talk screen." They did, of course, and it came back a pharmacy's worth of red flags. Cleared me, for now. But as I left the hospital, the automatic doors whooshing shut behind me like a coffin lid, I felt the rage settle in my bones, cold and unyielding as an Iowa winter. Revenge wasn't a word I threw around lightly. Hell, I'd spent my life playing peacemaker, the one who smoothed Jake's rough edges for Mom's sake. But this was war, and I was done being the fall guy. The plan crystallized over bad diner coffee the next morning, steam curling up like cigarette smoke in the all-night joint off 72nd Street. I'd start small, peel back the layers of his lies like an onion from hell. Jake had always been the golden boy, charming when he wanted, ruthless when cornered. Worked construction gigs that paid under the table, dated a string of barflies who funded his habits, and flipped houses on the side with shady loans from God knows where. But I knew his secrets, The ones he'd whispered in the dark when we were kids sharing a twin bed during power outages. Like the time he skimmed from mom's disability checks, or the business deals with chop shops that explained the Escalade joyride. If I was going down for his sins, he'd choke on his own. First move, the money trail. I called in sick to my soul-sucking data entry job at the credit union. Ironic, huh? And spent the day digging through public records on my ancient laptop. Jake's credit score was a dumpster fire, buried under maxed-out cards, and a foreclosure notice on that trailer he called home in Bellevue. But there it was, buried in the county clerk's filings, a lien on his investment property, a fixer-upper in Papillion he'd bought with a balloon loan from some fly-by-night lender. The kind that ballooned interest if you missed a payment. And guess who co-signed? Yummy. 2 years back, when he sweet-talked me over ribs at Sticky Fingers, promising it'd be his ticket to straight. You're the smart one, pay? Help your big bro out. Sucker. By evening, I drafted the paperwork, an affidavit claiming fraud, undue influence, the works. Nothing illegal, just good old American bureaucracy as a weapon. I filed it online with the clerk's office, anonymous tip line for the lender attached. Let them come for him with their repo trucks and eviction notices. As I hit submit, my phone buzzed. Jake, from his hospital bed. We need to talk. Come see me. Bring the check. I stared at the screen, fingers itching to type back some venom. But instead, I pocketed the phone and drove to the liquor store. Not for me, for him. A fifth of Jack, his favorite poison. Tomorrow's peace offering. Visiting hours were a joke, more like a cattle call in that sterile purgatory. Jake looked like hammered shit, tubes snaking from his arms like for serpents, bruises blooming purple across his jaw. But his eyes? Sharp as ever, locking on me the second I stepped in. Peyton, he rasped, voice like gravel under tires. You came. I forced a smile, plastic as a campaign promise, and set the bottle on his tray table. Figured you'd need it when they spring you. Doctors say you're lucky. Concussion, fractured ribs, but you'll walk. He chuckled, wincing. Luck? Nah, that's you, sis. Always landing on your feet. The hook in his tone, accusatory, probing. I sat, crossing my legs like we were at Sunday brunch. About the note. Jake, what the hell? Cops thought I ran you off the road. He shifted, eyes flicking to the door like he expected eavesdroppers. Heat of the moment. You know how I get when I'm pissed. That money, it's not just cash, pay. It's mom's last fuck you to the world. We split it, or I tell everyone about the car. The juvie time. How you borrowed that Escalade to impress your little punk boyfriend. My blood iced over. Blackmail? From the man whose mess I'd cleaned up? You wouldn't, I whispered, but we both knew he would. That's Jake. Flip like a coin. Heads you're his savior. Tails your roadkill. Try me, he said, smirking through the pain. Sign over 21 grand, and we're square. Family right. I left without a word, the bottle untouched, my mind a whirlwind of hurt and fury. Outside, the Omaha skyline loomed, all twinkling lights and false promises, the Missouri River churning black below. That's when I decided, no half measures. If he wanted to drag our skeletons out, I'd bury him in a grave of his own making. Step 2, the exes. Jake had a trail of broken hearts from here to Lincoln, women who'd seen his charm curdle into control. I started with Tara, the bartender from his last divorce, who answered my burner phone call with a wary, "Who is this?" Someone who knows what a snake Jake Harlan is, I said. Heard he totaled his truck. Thinks his sister's to blame. She laughed, bitter as burnt coffee. Of course he does. Blame shifting's his love language. Ask him about the $5,000 he borrowed from my grandma's savings. Promised a ring, delivered a ghost. By midnight, I had dossiers, texts, voicemails, even a restraining order from his college sweetheart. Nothing court admissible yet, but enough to seed doubt. I uploaded anonymized snippets to a Reddit thread, r/Omaha True Crime, titled Local Contractors Crash. Accident or setup? Comments flooded in, speculation, outrage, the internet's favorite blood sport. Jake's name stayed out, but the details? Unmistakable. Let the rumor mill grind him down. Week blurred into a haze of surveillance and spite. I tailed him post-discharge, parked in my Corolla across from his trailer park, watching as he hobbled in with a cane, already hollering at his latest squeeze over the phone. The foreclosure hit fast. Men in vests hauling his flat screen and tool chest while he raged from the porch, beer in hand. This is bullshit. Call my sister. She co-signed. The repo guy shrugged. Lady says you forged her signature. Paperwork's filed. Jake's face twisted, realization dawning like a bad trip. He dialed me that night, voice slurred with pills and paranoia. Peyton, you bitch. You did this. After everything. I let silence stretch. Then, everything? Like making me your patsy for that car? Or shaking down Mom's checks? We're even, Jake. Walk away. But he didn't. That's the thing about snakes. They coil tighter when cornered. Next came the flip, contrition, delivered via Aunt Linda at our family Bible study. Your brother's in a bad way, Pay. Says he was wrong. Wants to make amends. Come to dinner Sunday. Bring the check. No, just come. I went, of course. Dressed in my Sunday best. The little black dress that hugged my curves like a second skin, hair pinned up like I was heading to a funeral. Which, in a way, I was. The old Harlan house on Elm Street, sagging porch and all, smelled of pot roast and pretense. Jake sat at the head of the table, bandaged but beaming, eyes glassy with false warmth. Sis, he said, rising to hug me, breath hot on my neck. Forgive me. I was a drunk asshole. Let's start over. Aunt Linda cooed, passing the mashed potatoes like Holy Communion. But I saw the tell, the slight bulge in his pocket, the phone he'd glance at under the table. Recording? Blackmail insurance? We ate, small talk about the Huskers' losing streak and Cousin Tim's new baby, but tension hummed like power lines in a storm. Then, dessert, apple pie a la mode, Mom's recipe. Jake leaned in, voice low. I dropped the cops a line. Told him it was all a misunderstanding. But Pay. I need that money. For real this time. Debt's piling up. Bad men. You don't want to know. His eyes pleaded, but I knew the game. The mousy accountant in me crunched the numbers. His debts were bookies, not banks, and those bad men? Probably the same crew he'd run with since juvie days. I pushed back from the table, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. No, Jake. Not this time. The room froze, Aunt Linda's fork midway to her mouth, Uncle Ray's bushy brows furrowing. Jake's mask cracked, just a hair, but enough. You cold-hearted. He started, then caught himself, forcing a laugh. Kidding, folks. Family joke. But the damage was done. As I drove home, rain lashing the windshield like accusations, I knew the climax was barreling down. He'd escalate, and I'd be ready. It came faster than a freightliner on black ice. 2 days later, my boss at the credit union called me into HR, stone-faced suits and a folder thick as a phone book. Peyton, we've had complaints. Embezzlement allegations. From a family member. Jake, that bastard, had filed a report with the state banking board, claiming I'd funneled Mom's inheritance through fraudulent accounts. Lies, all of it, but enough smoke to choke my career. Suspended pending investigation, they said, handing me my cardboard box of desk trinkets. I sat in the parking lot, engine idling, tears hot on my cheeks, not for the job, but for the girl I'd been, the one who believed blood was thicker than the Missouri mud. That's when I crossed the line, not with fists or fire, but with the cold precision of a scalpel. Step 3, the truth bomb. I hired a PI on contingency, ex-cop named Harlan, no relation, who specialized in family feuds for flat fees. Gave him Jake's history, the car theft, the skimmed checks, the chop shop ties from a CI tip I'd nursed for years. Dig, I said, and when you hit pay dirt, leak it to the press. Cost me $5,000 from the inheritance, but worth every penny. The report landed a week later. Jake not just a petty crook, but neck-deep in a mortgage fraud ring, flipping those investment properties with forged docs and straw buyers. My cosign, the linchpin that kept the feds from sniffing earlier. I held the folder like Excalibur, driving to his trailer under cover of dusk. He answered the door in boxers and a wife-beater, reeking of despair. Pay. What they? I shoved past, slapping the report on his coffee table amid pizza boxes and empty cans. Read it, Jake. All of it. His eyes scanned, color draining like milk from a cracked jug. Where'd you? This is bullshit. Lies. But I saw the guilt flicker, the flip to denial as automatic as breathing. You think this ends us? I'll bury you too, sis. Tell him about the car, how you covered for me cause you were in on it. Desperate now, cornered animal baring teeth. We stood there, inches apart, the air thick with the ghosts of our shared sins. Why, Jake? I whispered, voice breaking. I took the fall for you. Ate the shame, the record that killed my college dreams. And you repay me by bleeding me dry. He lunged then, not to hit, but to grab my arms, eyes wild. Because you're the strong one. Always were. I needed you too. His words dissolved into sobs, the big bad wolf crumbling to the boy who'd cried wolf one too many times. For a heartbeat, pity swelled. Family, after all. But then I remembered the note, the cops, the HR firing squad. I twisted free, backing toward the door. It's over. Feds are coming. And if you breathe a word about that car, so am I. He followed me out, cane forgotten, screaming into the night. You can't do this. Blood, Peyton. Blood. Neighbors peeked from curtains, the American dream of quiet streets shattered. I peeled out, heart pounding like a jackhammer, the folder's copy burning a hole in my glove box. The climax hit the next morning. Omaha World Herald headline. Local flippers busted in mortgage scam. One brother turns on the other? Anonymous sources, of course, but Jake's mugshot stared out, haggard and hollow. The feds raided his trailer by noon, hauling boxes of falsified deeds and my old cosign docs. Cleared my name in the process. Turns out, his fraud ring had tentacles into the credit union's loan department. My boss called, apologetic. Come back Monday, full back pay. But victory tasted like ash. Jake lawyered up, out on bond, and the calls started. Pleas from jail, then rage-fueled voicemails when I blocked him. Aunt Linda sided with him, of course. You're breaking the family, Peyton. He's your brother. Debates raged at the diner counter, strangers picking sides over eggs and bacon. Was I the avenging angel or the heartless destroyer? Online, the Reddit thread exploded. Harlan heist trending locally, with polls splitting 52 to 48 on who's the real villain. I scrolled numbly, the weight of it all pressing down like Nebraska humidity. Then the twist, the one that gut-punched me harder than Jake's betrayal. Buried in the PI's final email, a postscript attachment. Mom's old diary, scanned from her lockbox I'd forgotten in probate. Pages yellowed, handwriting shaky from the gin. Entries from '03, the year of the Escalade. Jake came home crying tonight. Said his friends dared him, but it went wrong. Peyton's taking the blame. My girl, so brave. But God forgive me, I knew. I knew he was running with those boys, the ones cooking meth in the old mill. Pushed her to cover, said it'd teach him. What kind of mother? Further back, Jake's not mine, not really. Dad's fling in '85, but I claimed him to keep the peace. Peyton's the only blood, my anchor. If she knew. The world tilted. All those years, I'd slaved for a lie. A half-brother's messes, a mother's manipulations. The inheritance? Not blood money, but hush money. Mom's guilt payout for puppeteering my loyalty. Jake's demands, his flips, they weren't just greed. They were echoes of her control, the family curse we'd all inherited. I drove to the old duplex, now a meth house with boarded windows, and sat on the curb till dawn, rain mixing with tears. Call the cops on him fully? Expose Mom's secrets, shatter Aunt Linda's world? Or let it lie, take my house, my job, and ghost the lot? In the end, I chose the gray, the American way, messy and unyielding. Dropped an anonymous packet to the DA, full confession on the fraud, plus a note on the juvie cover-up, no names. Jake plea bargained down to 5 years federal, out in 3 with good behavior. I sold the inheritance plot for a tidy flip, bought that little bungalow in Lincoln. Fresh start, no Harlans allowed. Aunt Linda sends Christmas cards I don't open. Jake writes from Leavenworth. Promises of reform I've been unread. Happy ending? For me, maybe therapy twice a week, a cat named Karma, and nights where sleep comes easy. But as I watch the sun set over the cornfields, gold and unforgiving, I wonder, was revenge justice, or just another betrayal? You tell me. Blood's thicker than water, they say. But revenge? It's thicker than both. Wait. No, that was the hook, the unraveling. But the real storm brewed in the aftermath, when the dust settled and the mirrors cracked. You think revenge ends with the raid, the headlines fading like old tattoos? Nah. In the heartland, grudges root deep as thistle, twisting back on themselves when you least expect. I'd won, on paper, job reinstated with a quiet apology and a raise to shut my mouth. The bungalow mine free and clear, its white picket fence a joke on the chaos I'd fenced out. But Jake? He didn't fade. Oh no, he metastasized, sending feelers through the family grapevine. Whispers of Peyton's poison at VFW barbecues and church potlucks. She sold out her own blood. They'd murmur, eyes sliding away when I showed up for Mom's grave cleaning day. It started small, flat tires outside the credit union, slashed deliberate with a box cutter's precision. Cops called it vandalism. No leads, but I knew. Jake's old crew, the ones he'd flipped houses with, loyal as pit bulls to a bone. I changed the locks, installed cameras that caught shadows but no faces, and kept a canister of mace in my purse like lipstick. Then the mail. Anonymous letters postmarked from Leavenworth. No return address, just cut-out magazine words. Half, or hell, half the inheritance. He'd burned that bridge, but obsession doesn't care about bridges. I burned them too, in the backyard fire pit, flames dancing like his crash site inferno, but the smoke clung, acrid reminder that some fires never fully die. Work turned toxic next. Colleagues who'd clapped my back post-scandal now whispered in break rooms. Jake's sister-in-law, technically, hired as a teller, her desk 2 cubicles down. Heard your bro's rotting cause of you. She'd hiss during coffee runs, saccharine smile for the boss. HR called it personality clash, suggested mediation. I laughed, mediation with a viper, and quit instead, cashing out my 401k early, penalty be damned. Landed on my feet at a fintech startup in downtown Omaha, remote mostly, crunching algorithms from my kitchen table while the cat batted at laser pointers. Freedom, they called it. Isolation, my demons whispered. That's when the dreams started, vivid as sin, replaying the duplex nights, Jake's whispers morphing to accusations. You were always Mom's favorite, the real Harlan. I was the spare. I'd wake sweating, sheets tangled like restraints, the diary's revelations gnawing like termites. Was I the anchor or the chain? Mom's entries painted me saintly, but hindsight's a cruel editor. I'd enabled Jake, covered not just the car but the lies, the loans, the life. Revenge hadn't freed me. It had looped the noose tighter. Therapy helped. Dr. Ellis, with her no-bullshit bob and coffee breath, probing like a dentist on nitrous. Peyton, forgiveness isn't absolution. It's amputation, cut the rot to save the limb. Easy for her, with her picket fence life in Elkhorn. Mine, rot ran marrow deep. Summer hit like a freight train, humidity thick as guilt, and with it, the parole hearing. Jake's lawyer reached out via Aunt Linda. He's reformed, pay. AA, Bible study, the works. One word from you could tip the board. I stared at the email, cursor blinking like a taunt. Tip it. I'd tipped enough. Juvenile hall, cosigns, silence. But the twist in my gut wasn't pure hate. It was pity, laced with that Midwestern masochism, the urge to fix what family breaks. I wrote the letter anyway, not endorsement, but truth. Jacob Harlan is a chameleon, charm masking chaos. He crashed not just his truck, but lives. Mine included. Deny parole. Mailed it certified. Slept like a baby for the first time in months. Denial came swift, board citing ongoing risk, my words the scalpel. Jake's response. A collect call from the prison, voice cracked like old leather. Peyton. Why? I said sorry. In the letters. Letters I'd burned. Sorry doesn't erase the frame job, the blackmail. I said, voice steady as rebar. Silence stretched. Then, you don't get it. Mom told me before the end. About the blood test, the fling. Said you knew. Used it to control me. Lie? Truth? The diary hadn't mentioned telling him. But Jake's flips made every word suspect. Control? I protected you, you ungrateful. He cut me off, laughing wetly. Protected? Or possessed? We're the same, sis. Poison in the vein. Hung up, blocked the line. But the seed planted. Were we mirrors, him and I? His schemes my shadows? I dove deeper, P.I. Harlan on speed dial now, retainer like a bad habit. Run blood work on the old man, I said. Confirm the fling story. Results took weeks, but when they landed, bingo. Dad's DNA from a Vegas arrest record matched Jake 99.9%. Me zilch. Mom's lie exposed. Her diary a half-truth. But the kicker, estate addendum, buried in probate files I'd overlooked. To Peyton, full sum, for the burdens borne. To Jacob, nothing, for the burdens caused. She'd known, played us like fiddle strings in a hoedown from hell. Rage renewed, but twisted, not at Jake, but Mom, the puppet master 6 feet under. I drove to her grave, weeds choking the headstone, and screamed into the wind. You bitch. Used me to leash him, then died clean. Spat on the dirt, petty as a child, but cathartic. Back home, the cat meowed judgment, and I laughed, hysterical, healing. That's when Jake's crew escalated. Brick through my window at 2 a.m., Harlan blood scrawled in red spray paint. Cops dusted for prints, found a match to his cellmate's cousin. Harassment from inside, the detective said. A burly guy named Kowalski with a mustache like a broom. We can press charges, stack his time. I nodded, but inside, tempted to let it slide, in the cycle. Controversial choice, right? Punish the puppet or cut the strings. Chose both. Testified at the hearing, remote, voice modulated, detailing the brick, the tires, the whispers. Board added 6 months solitary for Jake. Comms blackout. Peace, fragile as eggshell, descended. Fall leaves turned, Huskers won a game, and I dated, cautiously, a barista named Micah, with tattoos and trust issues that mirrored mine. Family drama, he asked over IPAs at the old market. I shrugged. The Harlan curse. But I'm breaking it. He smiled, kissed my knuckles. Hope, that sneaky bastard, crept in. But Jake? Never one to fade. Christmas Eve, a package arrived. No cinder, wrapped in newsprint from the World Herald obits. Inside, Mom's locket, the one with our baby pictures, engraved blood forever. Note pinned, yours truly. Half now or I talk. The real secret. Heart hammered. What real secret? The diary ended with her cancer diagnosis, no bombshells. Unless, the meth. Those friends Jake ran with in '03? Mom's entries hinted she'd looked away, maybe supplied garage space for cooks. If true, she'd been complicit, her burdens born a euphemism for cover-ups galore. Panic clawed, but I breathed, called P.I. Harlan. Dig on, Mom. '03 meth ties. He called back Dawn. Peyton, it's bad. Arrest record, dismissed, informant deal. She ratted a ring, got immunity. Jake was the lookout kid. The pieces snapped. Escalade joyride? Cover for a drop gone wrong. My juvie time. Distraction from her flip. Family wasn't blood. It was a syndicate, Mom the Dawn, Jake the heir, me the sacrificial lamb. Twist upon twist, each more rancid. I confronted the grave again, locket clutched like a grenade. You used us all, I whispered. Then, decision, the ultimate revenge, not on Jake, but the legacy. Donated the remaining inheritance, $20K, to a women's shelter in Omaha. Plaque reading for those who bore burdens unspoken. P.H. mailed Jake the receipt, with a P.S. Half of nothing. Start over or rot. His reply? Silence, golden. Spring bloomed. Micah moved in, cat approved. Job promo to lead analyst. Therapy down to monthly. But at night, doubts whisper. Was exposing the rot redemption, or just shifting blame? Jake out in 28, reformed or rabid, who knows? Readers, you decide. Hero or hypocrite? In America, revenge is as apple pie as regret, sweet, messy, gone too soon. Yet peace is a liar, dressed in lilac blooms and Micah's lazy grins, unraveling at the seams when the past knocks with a warrant. It was June, air heavy with cicada hum and the scent of grilled brats from backyard barbecues I skipped. The feds showed, 2 suits in an unmarked Taurus, badges flashing like bad karma. Peyton Harlan? Special Agent Reyes. Mind if we come in? Micah hovered in the kitchen, coffee mug paused mid-sip, but I waved him off. It's fine. Old family business. Lies, all of it. But the bungalow's cheery yellow walls mocked me as they sat on my thrift store couch, flipping through a file thicker than War and Peace. Your brother's talking, Reyes said, a Latino woman with eyes like polished obsidian, her partner a lanky white guy named Ellis, no relation to the shrink, nodding along. Plea deal. Full confession on the fraud, but he's dangling bait. Mom's immunity deal from '03. Says you knew, helped cover. My laugh barked out, sharp as shattered glass. Me? I was 15, rotting in juvie for his joyride. Mom? She died broke and boozed up. What are you fishing for? Ellis leaned in, breath minty with false calm. Meth ring takedown. Your mom flipped, got a pass. But logs show a kid lookout, Jacob, and a sister who took unrelated heat same week. Coincidence? Coincidence? In Harlan world, it was choreography. They left with my prints and a promise to circle back, the door clicking shut like a chambered round. Micah wrapped arms around me, murmuring it'll blow over, but I felt the noose tighten, old habits dying hard. Called P.I. Harlan that night. Voice hushed over takeout lo mein. They're circling. Jake's singing to save skin. His chuckle rumbled, gravelly. Birds gotta fly, Peyton. Want me to countersing? Got dirt on the cellmate who chucked the brick, tied to the old ring. Temptation sang, siren sweet, but I paused. More digging, more dirt. When did revenge end? Become vendetta? No, I said finally. Let the feds chew. But watch my back. Days blurred to paranoia, checking mirrors for tails, sleeping with one eye open. Micah snores a lifeline in the dark. Work went remote full-time. For security, I lied to the boss. Truth? Couldn't face the teller's stares, the sister-in-law's smug, told you so smirk. Micah suggested a trip, Badlands, maybe, clear the head. But I demurred, chained to the computer, scouring Mom's diary for clues. Entries from '03 leaped, called in the tip. Jake's safe, but Peyton. God, the girl. Told her it's family duty. She believed. Duty? Or desperation? A later note, ink smudged. If they dig, the locket. Proof she's mine. Protect her. The locket, the one Jake mailed. Inside, not just photos, but a folded note. DNA lab receipt, post-dad's death, confirming me as sole Harlan. Mom's ace, to shield me from his claim. Twist again. Jake hadn't stolen it for spite. He'd found it in her lockbox post-probate, during one of his visits to the estate lawyer. Used it as leverage, not knowing the full play. Or did he? His flips, charm to threat, plea to poison, blurred intent. I clutched the locket, silver warm as betrayal, and drove to Leavenworth unannounced, the prison's razor wire glinting like cruel stars under Kansas sky. Visitation room smelled of bleach and broken men. Jake shuffling in orange jumpsuit. Thinner, eyes hollowed by regret or ruse. Pay, he breathed, hands cuffed to the table, voice a ghost of the holler. You came. I slid the locket across, no warmth. Found Mom's note. The real one. His gaze flicked, then away, guilty flicker. Yeah, she told me, end of her days. Whispered it like a curse. Peyton's the heir, you're the spare. Don't fuck it up. He laughed, bitter. I tried, sis. The demands, the notes, it was bluff, to get you to share. Thought blood meant equal, not this. Biology bullshit. Lies. Truth? His eyes, for once, held no flip, just weariness, the mirror to my own. Why rat to the feds? I pressed, voice low. Plea for the fraud, fine, but dragging Mom's ghost. He leaned, chains rattling like Jacob Marley's. They cornered me. Offered time off if I spilled family secrets. Said you'd be questioned, not charged, collateral, to pressure. Pressure for what? The ring's remnants, loose ends from '03. Jake was bait, I the hook. And the locket? Mailed to scare me into silence. He nodded slow. Stupid. Thought it'd bond us. Harlan spares against the world. But you always win. Win? Felt like losing. The board game of blood where no one claimed the prize. I stood, chair scraping final. Tell the feds the truth. Mom flipped alone. I covered nothing. And Jake? Stay buried. He grabbed for my hand. Reflex. Futile. Peyton, wait. I'm sorry. Real this time. When I get out, let me make it right. Half the nothing. Hell, all of it. Just. Family. The word hung. Tainted as tainted meat. But in his eyes, a boy's plea. The one I'd shielded from hydrants and hydras. I walked out, sun blinding, the plains stretching endless. Called Reyes from a gas station payphone. Old school, untraceable. Agent. It's Harlan. Mom acted solo. Kid lookout was coerced. Juvie sister innocent. Logs. Fabricated by the ring to muddy waters. Check the original CI file. Dismissal clause protects all. Click. Let the feds unravel their own yarn. I'd snipped my thread. Back home, Micah waiting with burgers and beer, oblivious to the war. Rough visit. I nodded, collapsing into him. The bungalow's walls a fortress now. But the debates raged internal. Forgive the spare? Or sever for good? Micah's take, over porch swings and stargazing. Blood's just DNA, pay. Family's choice. Profound, barista wisdom. I chose. Wrote Jake one last letter. No promises, just coordinates to Mom's grave. Clean it yourself. Start there. Summer waned. Feds backed off. Case closed. Ring ghosts exorcised. Micah proposed over corn maze hayrides. Ring simple as his smile. I said yes. Tears salt sweet. Wedding small, Lincoln Courthouse. Aunt Linda no-show but a card. Proud, despite. Jake's parole advanced. Good behavior. My tip-off anonymous. Out in 27. Address unknown. Happy? Tragic? The split's yours. Did I redeem or ruin? In America's heartland, revenge circles like hawks. Patient, piercing, never quite sated. Autumn's chill bit deep. Leaves carpeting the bungalow lawn like confetti from a funeral I hadn't attended. Wedding bands glinted on our fingers. Mike is calloused from lattes, mine scarred from ledgers and lies. Life normalized, mornings tangled in sheets, evenings with Netflix and takeout, the cats purr a metronome to healing. But normalcy's fragile as frost on pumpkins, shattering when Jake surfaced, not with fists but a Facebook friend request, profile pic a prison yard selfie, caption, reborn in the fire. I stared, thumb hovering, Micah's voice from the kitchen, block him, pay, or delete the app. Sage, but curiosity's a cat with 9 lives, and mine had scratched back. Accepted. Messages trickled, congrats on the rock. Happy for you. Then, photos, him in Omaha halfway house, suit ill-fitting, holding a NA chip. 6 months clean. Thinking of mom. Polite, probing. I replied sparse, good. Keep it. But the flips resumed, subtle. Remember Christmas 99, the snowman we built? Missed that. Nostalgia bait, reeling me in. Micah noticed the glow of the screen, nights when I'd scroll instead of sleep. He's grooming you, he said one October Eve, over cider by the fire pit. For what? Forgiveness parade. I shrugged, defensive. Or redemption arc. People change, right? Did they? Jake's next move, a visit, announced via text, in Lincoln tomorrow. Coffee. Neutral ground. Micah vetoed, but I went. Duncan off O Street, 10 a.m., heart thumping like bass at a tailgate. He arrived early, clean-shaven, cologne overpowering the donuts. Hugged awkward, bones sharp under flannel. Peyton, God, you look settled. We sat, small talk skirting minds. Weather, Huskers, his job at a warehouse, straight life, sis. No flips. Then, the ask, the wedding. Invite. I get it if no, but family photo, you know. Eyes earnest, no venom. Pity swelled, treacherous. Jake, why now? After the feds, the brick? He stirred sugar, endless loops. Rock bottom. Solitary, cleared the fog. Mom's lies, my sins, mirrors everywhere. But you? You fought fair. Deserved better. Flipped to vulnerability, classic Jake. But something rang true. The weariness, the want for absolution. I softened. One condition. Therapy, yours and mine. Joint sessions. No secrets. He agreed, eyes lighting like 4th of July sparklers. Micah fumed when I told him, snake oil sales, but relented for weekly check-ins, his barista radar on high. Sessions started rocky, Dr. Ellis mediating from her tweed armchair, air thick with unearthed rot. Jake spilled first. The meth lookout gig, mom's coercion, said it'd keep dad's shadow off us. His flips as survival, charm the shield. I countered with juvie scars, the cosign betrayal, the inheritance war. You demanded half like it was owed. I accused, voice cracking. He nodded, tears real. Owed cause I was the spare. Thought sharing made me whole. Mom's ghost loomed, her diary read aloud, revelations ripping fresh wounds. Ellis probed. Peyton, did revenge heal or haunt? Haunt, I admitted. Jake, it broke me. Thank you. Months ground on, frost to thaw. Christmas, tentative. Dinner at the bungalow, Micah's meatloaf a peace offering. Cat eyeing Jake wary. No locket talk, no demands, just stories, sanitized, laughter tentative as first steps. Aunt Linda came, thawing slow, toasting to Harlan's, whole or half. Jake gifted a locket replica, empty. Fill it with your own. I did, Micah's photo, mine, a sonogram slip we'd kept secret. Pregnant? Surprise twist, blue line on a stick that November. Life, insistent. But controversy brewed, as it does. Neighbors whispered, the ex-con brother? At holidays? Reddit threads revived, polls flipping, forgive or fool. Micah confided doubts over nursery paint swatches. He's clean now, but what if? What if indeed? Spring brought bloom and balm. Jake's sponsor called, voice grave. Relapse scare. Fought it off, but close. I confronted, park bench by the Platte, willows weeping. Truth, Jake. All in. He broke, sobbing, tempted. Old crew reached out, easy money. But you, the kid on the way. Nah. Flip averted, but the cracks showed. Redemption fragile as eggshell china. Birth came summer solstice. Boy named Ellis. No. Wait. Emerson, after the poet, not the shrink. Jake visited hospital, holding tiny fists, eyes wet. Uncle Jake. I'll earn it. Did he? Year 1. Babysat twice, changed diapers like a pro, sponsored his own NA Minty. Year 2. Proposed we co-sign a legit loan for his auto shop startup, clean books, my audit clause. Controversial? Hell yes. Micah balked. Cycle repeats. But I signed, guarded. Betray this, and it's over. It held. Shop thrived. Harlan's united on the sign. Half joke, half hope. Family barbecues swelled. Aunt Linda's pies, Micah's brews. But the debates lingered, internal and external. Was I saint or sucker? Jake's flips faded, but mine? The urge to sabotage, test him, whispered still. Twist final. Emerson's first words, Uncle Jake, sparked it. Blood or choice? We chose, messy American style, grudges ground to grit under boot heels. Ending? No tidy bow. Jake's shop hit a snag, recession bite, debts nipping. He asked for a loan, not demand. Half, if you can. I gave full, no strings. Micah grumbled, but saw the shift. Trust, earn drop by drop. Happy. For now, with Emerson's giggles echoing, the bungalow alive. Tragic? If relapse calls, or old crew circle. You argue it out. Revenge redeemed, or just delayed detonation. In the heartland, under endless sky, we Harlan halves make holes, fractured, fierce, forever debating.